to Femtech 89 FM, Rainbow Connections, and Radio with Pictures.
Thank you, Nikki, and welcome everyone to Rainbow Connections, Radio with Pictures. May 17th was the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia. Our discussions this week leading up to this broadcast have reaffirmed the intersectionality of rights, the interconnections of our collective human security and development priorities. We've also collectively acknowledged the reality of sexual gender-based violence and discrimination, which many of us have and continue to experience because of our gender identities. To discuss these issues, together with providing ways forward and recommendations, particularly for development, we welcome in this segment, celebrating Idaho, Sarah Lee of the Rainbow Women's Network, Losana Nderenalangi, the president of the Nawaka Women's Club and the member of the Song Song Wakamarama Nadi Zone, Setareki Vuravere of Oceania Pride, good to have you with us this morning, and Chimaima Talinga, president of the Dakambu Women's Group. To start with you, Sarah Lee, the Fiji's 2013 constitution has enshrined within its Bill of Rights no discrimination on grounds of sexual orientation. How do we collectively promote these rights and also protect them, and in doing so, help change the mindsets and attitudes that are leading to discrimination?
Thank you for the question, Sharon. I do believe that we have to work for our promotion by doing community work, like visiting old people's home, children's home, and school and community, so that we can change, so that the public can change the way they look at us.
Okay.
So
you're talking about stepping out beyond so coming out in a sense,
yes,
in the community and demonstrating that you're part of the community. Lasana, recently the Methodist Church of Fiji has come out with a very strong solidarity statement. The women's rights groups in Fiji historically have been very important allies on the issue of SOGI rights as well. But at the local level, particularly as you're very involved not just with the Nadi Tikina Song Song Wakamarama, but also the National Council of Women in the Ba Province Song Song Wakamarama, what do we need to do to assist, as Sarah Lee said, get in better engagement at the community level?
Yeah, I think, as you've mentioned, we have the rights. The rights are already there. It's just that empower the community and the family and the province around us about their rights, respecting their rights. And we are very grateful to the Methodist Church what it has, the initiative that has been taken, and trying to arrange for all these groups, all of us, including the gay community, to come together and absorb that vision. And I think we can bring that down to our community level as well. And today's people have this secretary for the Methodist, he was saying that we have to take the first step. We have to go out there and accept. That's the first thing. And this God is a God of impossible. And I'm sure that it's just a Christian principle. We have the right, but we don't have the right to judge somebody else, because we are all saved in front of God. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the Methodist Church stance to do the first step and involve them, because I'm sure they want to participate, and they have the right to equally participate in all the decisions that we make in our community. We just have to recognize them and encourage. The way to encourage them is to accept them, bring them in, make them involved. And
Thanks, Lasana, because you're actually one of the leaders who has been walking this talk. I mean, we first met Setareki, who is a member of Oceania Pride, but you've been getting involved in programs through the Lasana's work, the Nawaka Women's Club, and activities in that way. So, Setareki, What is the situation? I mean, are you one of the few from the gay community who are able to participate, and how difficult or how easy was it?
I think yes, my case is not difficult to get involved with the community because I take part in all of the community, most of the community activities. But why not? Why only me? I think the community level should get now to understand that all the LGBTIQ community should get involved and should be accepted in the community as a whole. And why not? From community level, from home is the first place. We should get accepted and have the power to participate too as women participation. Thank you.
Thank you. Jemima, SETA brings a very important issue up. It has to start in the home, doesn't it? The family environment. You're a mother as well as a women's leader. What's the situation for you? How are you seeing this issue?
Thank you, Sharon. Uh, from my point of view, I do really accept it because in my family, my real nephews, one is even SETA is, I really support SETA, and all women activities in the village, within the community, they are always there for us. We have a few members in the village, and in all areas of my responsibility, they are the one that always support me along with the women.
Okay, thank you so much. Coming back to you, Sarah Lee. So, paving the way, there is an opportunity, right? So, if we were to talk about how do we collaborate together, yeah, what are the issues we can advocate together? What are those development priorities?
I think, Sharon, first of all, we should hold hands and work together. That's the main priority. But I said before, by going out to community and doing all these things, that will be recognized.
There is a perception, though, particularly of transgender persons, that you're not interested in those issues. That, you know, what are the barriers? How do we help the broader transgender community, or how do we engage? What are the kinds of programs, particularly for the younger transgender women? How can they get more involved and feel more accepted? What was it like for you growing up? Not easy.
Oh, it's not really easy, but I think for now, the education should start from lower level school. It should start from primary school, then go up. I think by then they simply will carry that on from primary school.
So it's putting the provisions of the Bill of Rights into practice, into our day-to-day lives. You're agreeing, Lasana?
Yeah, just to add on with what Sarah has said, she was telling us her story about how she was brought up and the abuse that she faced at home. And I think from what we talked about, I think it started from an early age. So we think that if the awareness can start from primary schools, to be aware of all the people. After all, we are all humans. We are just being humans.
And we have many identities.
Yeah, we have many identities, and we have our own hobbies, our own likes and dislikes. But for this gay community, all they ask is a little acceptance, and why not?
Seta, would you like to add to that discussion?
Yes, I think it's important to let them take part in all activities that the people take part in. Like for now, in Nadi, we are Oceania Pride is just the silver, and now we're getting it. We wanted to start off in the West, so we want to network with all the communities now. And why not? We'll start off as from today. We're having a meeting today, and we'll start off from today.
Jemima, this week was quite historical for us as the FemLink network in Nadi. How did you find the engagement with a diverse community compared to when we kind of sit in our, what we call our heteronormative spaces and talk to each other? How did you find the process?
It is quite good, and we would like to support whatever they want to commit or whatever they do. We feel free to support them in the women's group and in all areas of or even bring them together, even though to be recognized and supporting whatever they want to earn their lives, even economic or on their environment where they live in. We have, I think I'm on the support.
Okay, so let's bring it back to the development priorities. Coming up on Radio with Pictures today, we'll be talking about access to services. We'll be talking about our experiences during natural disasters. We'll be talking about youth empowerment as well as gender equality in decision making. Sarah Lee, what do you find, what are your critical development priorities that you'd like to see addressed, whether it's through the national budget or in the local government development plans?
Health is very important. Like for us in Nadi, it's a hurricane. After flood, and there's, I think health comes first in the West.
And is it easy for members of your community in particular to access health services? Does health service delivery need to be inclusive and ensure that it's a safe space to access?
It takes some time. It takes some time, but then we have to work together to get there. Even before flood, we should get proper kits and stuff, to help us at home before even the bigger help arrives.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
Lasana, what are you seeing as the development priorities?
Yeah, for disaster, because that's something that all of us go through, and for the gay community as well, and also in the economic, empowering these young women and men economically, because when disaster comes, they've got their groups, but most of them live in urban areas, and they live quite far apart. It's very hard for them to get communication, to communicate with each other, and also I think they should be empowered economically in the sense that I'm sure they have gone through some skill program workshops, but I think they don't have the money to start off their businesses. Maybe the government can look into that and arrange the banks, if they can easily get a small loan, because I think that's one of the challenges. When you go to get a loan, it's the youth and the women that suffers, because it will be the man who gets that quite easily, rather than a youth or young man, a young woman, or a woman, for that matter. So maybe that way the government can look at it and do something, help these women to get that small money to start off their business, because I know they got so many talents.
A really interesting thing happened a couple of months ago, that the Indian Supreme Court actually reaffirmed the three identities, so the three gender identities, male, female, and transgender. Sarah, I'm going to come back to you. Have you ever tried to apply for a bank loan or access services or fill out a form and not be recognized?
Because maybe it's my identity. I'm scared to go out there and do that.
So accessing services would also mean, how would you want to be acknowledged on a form that you want to fill out?
I want to be acknowledged just normal, just same as a woman and a man.
Okay. So which box would you tick? I mean, many people don't know this, so you don't know which box to tick. Okay. Setoreki, development priorities, what are you seeing on the ground for your community?
I think the channels, the people that we are following now is all right, but I think the advisory council is that we should start filling in the right the forms and make sure that the stories goes back to the people in the community, and it's not halfway done. For example, the water system. Once it's we talk about it in the forms are filled, it should be completed. It should go to the right authority, and I think the government of the day should look into it and try to acknowledge the participants and what the communities need.
So take me back a bit and walk us through, because maybe not everybody's familiar with what you're talking about. So if you're applying for water supply in a rural community, you need to make sure that it has the approval of the District Advisory Council. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Sharon. It has to be the approval of district council. But most of the time, the advisory councils, they leave it on the table and it's unattended. So when we go back and get the district council's approval, it hasn't reached them. So I think it's time now for the advisory councils to make things work out.
And to be more accountable?
To be more accountable for the communities they serve.
Chimaha, development priorities.
Yes.
As a leader of the Drakamba Women's Club and obviously a member of broader Tikina networks such as through the Songa Songa Bakamarama, what are the development priorities you'd like to see addressed?
Sharon, regarding to what Secretary has already said about water, even shortage of water we're really facing around now, even in Nadi, especially during disaster. That's what maybe we need some other equipment like gallons or drums or whatever, and that even within the community during disaster from where I live, you always find difficult getting water after flooding or disaster. So then maybe the government of the day should look further into getting everybody satisfied for their needs, even then cleaning up, they need that. And if they are evacuated to a certain area and far from where they live, it takes time for that, even months to do cleaning up and wherever they live. As Ratambu always get tenants of low-lying areas and getting them there to the school. And when the school starts, we have to find a place to put them through until when they are ready to go. They should look further in water. Water is really...
So all of you seem to be focusing on access to water, but also the experiences during the natural disasters. If we could just go back to January, because that was, you know, major flooding as well. What was your experience, Sarah Lee, during January?
Can't even come out of your home until maybe a week, and then you come out because it's all water everywhere. Very bad experience.
Were you ready? How did you cope?
No, I wasn't ready at all because I didn't know it was coming.
Right. So what did you have to do to manage for those
Oh,
days?
I have to get food together. So the main priority was food. I get into food and then I stay home because you couldn't get out of the house.
Yes. Yeah. Losana, what were you hearing? We managed to meet very briefly in January, but how are things for you?
Yes, in Nawaka, it was the first time for the floods to come right across the village and the settlement around it, and we were taken by surprise. We were not ready for that, and it was history, first time ever. So everybody was just sleeping. The water was just going across, and then the settlement close to the village, they have to come to the school. But then the school is not set for evacuation. No, the toilets, there's no bathroom upstairs, and it was just all overcrowded. Yeah, that's one of the challenges that we now face. And maybe that's something that should be looked into, the evacuation centers and the things that women need, because we have different needs from men. And also, Sharon, if I can get back to the health, the development on health, I think with the community, the gay, and also all our community, that's something that the young men are facing today. Maybe we should have more awareness on drugs and HIV, because this is one of the very big problems that's touching the young generation of today. Yeah, more awareness on drugs, and I know one problem leads to another. It's all due to economic, if we can meet that, especially starting the small businesses, maybe, they don't need to do drugs, they don't need to do other kinds of work. It's just have to start small, accept and do something small. I'm sure that they can do much, much better and more.
Thank you, Losana. Sitareki, anything to add to what Losana is saying? So looking beyond natural disasters, how do we support
the empowerment, including economic empowerment of our communities?
Today, I think the government and everybody should be aware of uh, what what has happened, and they should be ready, and things should be announced, message should be thrown out to the public earlier than that, like a week or 2 weeks time, so they'll be ready. Otherwise, it's not a safe place to stay at home and it's flooding.
Chimama, how do you watch the weather? When do you know? When do you anticipate, particularly in Dratambu, when do you anticipate, oh, we're going to have a problem?
Mostly, as Ratambu lives in, we say, live in the village, and we always get from radio, television, and from our knowledge too, we have certain, plants and even birds that fly around. We can identify that even the cloud when we see. So everyone should, from us, oldies, just to pass it on to the message to everyone, to be alert and get, to be educated and to be aware of the, we need to get our children, even our youth, to cooperate and to be with us when, to stand by, or even sometimes that we find difficult in that. Yes, I'm speaking for us. We live in Vunas too, and now we live in Ratambu. So Vunas is element too within our community of working. It's a quite large number of community that we are working. Because during disaster, we always find difficult in getting them to know, and even to get them out of the house when it is time of disaster. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chimama. We're celebrating Ida Hot on Radio with Pictures on Fem Talk 89 FM and simulcast on MyTV. Coming back to this celebration of Ida Hot, we've heard already from Lasana the acknowledgement of the kinds of leadership, for example, from faith-based leaders that we need. Sarah Lee, what is the kind of leadership you're looking for, or what are the qualities of leadership you're looking for in order that Ida Hot becomes more than just one day of commemoration, but we're talking about overcoming discrimination, overcoming violence and prejudices?
I think by overcoming all these prejudices and everything else, working together with women is, I think, is our first priority, because they simply understand, because they are mothers. I think by working with them, I think this will overcome everything else.
Okay, thanks. Lasana, what kind of leadership are we needing, even within the women's movement? Because it's not to say that even within the women's movement there aren't prejudices or discomforts.
As of now, with the Ida Hot celebration, it's really big. It's good. For us, it's the first time that we come together, different identities, we all sit together, and it's quite an experience. And maybe we can take it into a broader level, make it a holiday. Give them a public holiday so that they are recognized. They recognize they have the right for that. And we should do our part and accept them. I will share a little story with Seta, sitting right here. Seta, as soon as he left school, he walked closely with me. We took him in our Song Salawag Marama, and we support him, and we empower him. Today, Seta is very strong. Seta applies for big things. I'm sitting there, he's going right there, and he'll be also participating in the election commission. So he's going to Suva next week to do that 2-year contract. But what I'm saying, that it's just have to start small. Just have to do a little acceptance, and we empower them from the community. From the mom's point of view, we always have a heart for everybody. So we support the Methodists, and I'm sure we can do that. But let's make it big for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seta, Oceania Pride, you said It's starting to spread their wings into the Western Division. What is the kind of leadership you're looking for, both within Oceania Pride, but also within the community to help you in advancing the work that was the, you know, the vision of the founder, Jasmine?
From this level, Sharon, we kind of need a lot of organizations. And me and Jasmine, we're happy that they started in 1990. So I think it's easier for us to stand and get them organized. And we'll train them to be good leaders. And we'll want them to be the best in the community.
What would be those qualities of leadership that you will make sure is included in the kind of leadership training you hope to offer?
Okay, Sharon, we'll try to come down. Jasmine and myself will try to come down, sit with them with a bottle of grog, and then organize talkings and then train them the qualities of being good leaders in society and how they can manage the communities with this lifestyle they have, how they are accepted back in the communities and give them back the good feedbacks and the ideas on how they should react with the communities with their levels, the backgrounds and families.
Jemima, from Dratambu Women, as a leader yourself, what are the qualities of leadership you'd like to be able to promote, not just within your club, but within the community as well?
I would like to support ladies or even whoever are willing to stand and give themselves up to be committed in all areas of life and to be trustworthy and even to to be helpful in always every area of life.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us in this segment celebrating Idaho.